All right. So everybody, welcome to the Ask Me Anything edition of the Liquibase Community Meetup. Today, we're going to talk about why we're here, the code of conduct. We'll do some quick introductions, and then we'll get to the heart of this conversation, which is an open discussion, really anything that you have question-wise for us or for each other. Love to talk about that. And then we'll do a short community update, and then that will be the end of our conversation. So why are we here? We're here to meet each other, to learn something about Liquibase, to ask questions and share problems, and to share insights and information with each other. Just a reminder, this is a place, as I said, this is a place for people to share questions, ideas, and experiences. We expect everyone to be respectful and give each other opportunities to participate. All right, so for virtual introductions, instead of going around the room, this time we're going to just ask you to go to rename. So go to the three dots above your picture, click on that and click rename, and put your, if you will, put your first name, your country, and your role. And that'll help help us all as we're having conversations to have a little bit of context. And if anybody needs help, feel free to just speak up. Happy to help y'all through that. All right. So before we get started, I do want to introduce Tabby, who's our new technical community manager. She joined us, I guess it's probably been about 4 weeks now.
It's been almost 2 months, actually.
Oh my gosh.
7 weeks.
That's awesome. So she is, you'll see her on the forum, on Discord, on Stack Overflow, when you ask questions through the community questions. So she's all over the place. So if you haven't met her yet online, make sure and do that. But you'll also get to meet her here today. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, Tabby?
Sure. So I live in Houston. Obviously, I put that in my display name there. I've lived here for a little over 20 years, and I grew up in Salt Lake City. So I miss the mountains, but you got to go where your family is. So, and I've been doing community management professionally for about 4 years now. And before that, I just did it for fun. I like to bring people together. So it's one of my favorite things to do. So I'm super excited to be joining the team here.
Great. Thank you, Tabby. Tabby has before she did community management, she was also in technical support. So she's got a great technical background. And it's a really nice combination between among that and her community management skills. So definitely stop in and say hi online as well to her. All right, so now we are at the reason why we're here, a chance to talk to y'all about any questions, concerns, thoughts, anything you want to know. Let's open up the floor. Who'd like to start us off?
I wouldn't mind going first if you don't mind. Yeah, cool, great. So here, let me try and put my camera on. My connection is kind of bad, so we'll see what happens. Great, okay, you can see me, cool. Yeah, sorry, so my name is Luke, and I work on the Configuration Persistence Service team in the ONAP project. It's an open source project, which is kind of important for my question, I guess. For context, I'm just going to put a link to a thread that was used a while ago, and it is about licensing, which is a fun topic always. But yeah, basically, since I'm working in open source projects, we kind of have certain criteria for using different dependencies based on their license. Specifically for us, we need to use, I'm just going to preface this by saying I'm not 100% familiar with licensing myself. It's not my expertise anyway, but the discussion before anyway was based off of the fact that there was both an Apache license and a Pro EULA license within the Liquibase Maven repository that we were pulling down.
Mm-hmm.
And our solution at the time was for Liquibase 4.4.2 was to create our own repo with that the code in question removed, so it only had the open code, I suppose the non-proprietary code available in that repo.
Okay.
And I was wondering for 4.9.1, I've looked through the repo myself, and it seems that the Pro EULA license has been removed. So I'm kind of going back and looking at it again to see if we can actually use use 4.9.1 without having to go through the steps of removing that proprietary code like before. So.
Great question. I think Nathan's probably and not to put you on the spot, but I think you're probably the one closest to it that can answer it.
I don't know. I was gonna push it off on you because it's as much it's as much a legally question that I don't always know answers to as everything.
Well, let me ask you a quick question then. So,
sure.
Did something change in 4.9?
No, we haven't changed anything on kind of what we're distributing. The license that gets pushed up to Maven, and we've been doing some kind of improvements to our build process over the time, including how we do our promotion of builds and that sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. And so it may be a difference in what we're pushing up to there, possibly. May have to look at it a bit. My view on there, and on kind of how I see and understand it, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong here, Kevin, but I kind of see it as, we do have kind of our one Liquibase core jar file, which does have both sort of the Apache license code in it, as well as some Liquibase Pro and end user license code in there. We distribute it as one jar file, in order to kind of give people the ability to kind of shift from the open source free code to the paid code without needing to reinstall anything or anything like that. And so then even from an open source, from your side, as you're making an open source product to kind of help bring Liquibase to the market, from our standpoint, we want to be able to have our code be able to be a part of that and not have to have you go through a bunch of hoops on it. And part of that is then, as your users are perhaps wanting to be able to use some of the Liquibase Pro functionality, we want that to be easy for them in there. And so that's why we're including both of them in the same artifact. So I kind of see it as a bit of a dual licensing, that, we have the open source free code, which is everything you're going to hit without going through the extra effort of adding in a Liquibase Pro license key in there. All of that is Apache licensed, and so while you have the Pro code that ends up sitting there being distributed, it doesn't actually get used without that other one. And so it's kind of an end user, it's sort of that kind of classic dual license thing. The user can pick what they want. If they're wanting to use the Pro code, then they're needing to they're needing to sort of accept the Pro end user license, and that's part of as they're buying their Liquibase Pro license key and whatever. But if they're not using that, then it falls under the they certainly run it under the Apache license. Does that kind of match your understanding, Kevin?
It does, but probably what Luke is going to want is a bit of clarification on the licensing in general, maybe from a legal perspective.
I think that actually probably does answer my question. Okay. I'm just the developer. I'm not the one that makes the decisions, but from before, the issue also was that the Pro license code is also distributed with the code base. So from what other people, the decisions other people have made, basically we're not allowed to even if the code is there and and it's only accessible if you have a Pro license, we're still not able to use that dependency, if that makes sense. Yeah.
And so I think a response there too from our CTO's office was that you could build it locally and include it as part of that. So was that an option for you to be able to do that?
Yeah, so what we did instead was we created our own repo for it, and it's hosted separately to it's hosted on a Nordics, which is it's related to our project. Is basically a server that they have, and we pull down from there instead of pulling from the Maven repository. So that was our solution for 4.4.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'll probably reach out to you separately anyway and just talk in more detail about it, what y'all are doing, and licensing options, and kind of how to work through that. I think if you have something that's working now, it's fine. The problem is maintaining it's gonna be a pain, and
Yeah,
we maintain it for you. So let me. I don't know. We probably won't solve it in this call, but I think I have the forum question. It looks like you didn't open it; somebody else did, or is that your? Are you?
No, that's sorry. Steve Winslow has since left, so that's he's the one who opened it, and I think I have a reply down at the bottom.
Okay.
That I kind of was
Okay, yeah. Good. I'll reach out to you via the forum, and we can also, if you want to Slack me directly your contact information or email address in chat here, I'll capture that. And you and I can follow up a little bit later and get maybe I can dig a little bit deeper into your question and then figure out if there's a better path, so you don't have to do so much of keeping track of your own repo of Liquibase and all that, because that's messy.
And
great.
And as you're working with them on that, Kevin, too, remember we do have we have our kind of upcoming project here to sort of better divide between those, exactly how that impacts Maven. Whether we, still kind of try to push it as one jar file, whether we, make a new POM file that has the both, and, kind of what we do exactly is a little bit up in the air, kind of based on what we, what we're wanting the end user experience to be. And so some information from Luke there would be great in helping us be able to kind of better work through our options on exactly how we want to expose that sort of little bit more of a split between the two halves of the code base to the outside world.
I'll bring you into the call.
All right, thanks. And you don't have to bring me into the call, but just kind of, I certainly can. I certainly can.
You can join me. We'll get a bunch of, because I think you have a bunch of good questions, good points. So I think let's do that, and we'll hear kind of what Luke's trying to do beyond what we've heard today, and we can spend a little bit of time with that during this next sprint.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool.
Great. That's great. Yeah, cheers. Thank you very much.
Yep. Sorry we didn't get it solved, but at least we recognize the problem. We'll get back to you. So.
Yeah, it was perfect. Yeah, that's great. That's all I need. Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.
Thanks. All right. Who would like to go next?
I have a question. I noticed that the Netezza extension has disappeared from the list of extensions. And I'm curious what the state of that is. I know it's about 4 years old in the GitHub repo that used to be linked from the Liquibase site. I'm guessing this is just stagnated and isn't being supported. I mean, obviously it's not being supported anymore, but any thoughts on that? I noticed most of the extensions kind of increase in version alongside Liquibase. So they try to stay in sync, but Netezza's, maybe it's just a dead platform or dying platform. So any thoughts on that?
I was curious if maybe Nathan, you or Mike knows if that was intentional or if that was an oversight.
It's not in our Liquibase core, so we haven't we haven't forked that one in locally, and so that's why it doesn't get built. And so back to your point, Daryl, it's probably because it hasn't been updated in several years, and that we don't know, I guess, who's using it, how many folks are using it, especially if it hasn't been updated. I mean, I guess if it's working, it's working.
My concern, okay, so where I'm coming from is We are currently on 3.10 and we're about to bump up to probably the latest version sometime in the next few months. And of course I need to do testing, but I'm kind of worried if this extension is going to be incompatible or there's going to be problems with it. And we'll kind of be stuck because we have customers still using it. They are moving to Snowflake, which is a better supported extension, but that, you know, that project's going to take whatever it takes to get off of Netiza. So.
Okay. We should probably talk about it. Do you, so since we have not been active managing that extension that was actually built by someone else, is that something that if we were to bring that into Liquibase, you'd want to get involved, you'd have capacity or the ability to get involved in helping us maintain it? Or is that not something that y'all could help take on right now?
I honestly don't have any knowledge of building an extension. I mean, is this Java code, I'm guessing? Since
it is Java code.
Yeah, which I don't really know. So I doubt I would be able to help maintain it.
Okay, that's fine.
Unfortunately.
That's okay. It was a question.
What version did you say that it is on our stuff? The Netiza?
The Netiza is not in the Liquibase repository. It's in a separate repository. Somebody else somebody in the community created it. So it's just a community created extension that's out there. And last updated in 2018. I just looked at it. It's super simple. So I don't know. We can look at it, Daryl. I haven't looked at it before, and so I'd have to. Nathan and I can spend an hour looking at it, seeing what if it will work with, give it a try and see if it'll work with the latest version. And
yeah, the latest version came out in March of last year, so it's been out for a year.
Yeah. So we just have to look at it and see. It's not a huge extension, so
yeah. I'll say the extension does have problems. It's probably, like you said, it's very basic. It does tend to fail a lot with these errors that say driver went crazy, and it leaves the database changelog lock on a lot. So this particular team that is all Netiza, they're running release locks all the time to clear up that problem. And but that's still that's not my main question. It's mostly about concern about upgrading to, Liquibase 4 dot whatever and whether this thing works or not still. So, but again, I have to test that to see if it's even a problem, I guess. So,
yeah, I think if you can test it and let us know if you find problems, then we can look at it. I don't know if we can commit resources to it, but we can commit a few hours to, at least if it's something straightforward, to just get it working with the new version of Liquibase. Maybe not go fix all the bugs you're finding, but but that's a possibility for sure.
Okay.
So let's just stay in contact as you figure that out, and then just reach out to me, or reach out to me, probably the best, or Tabby. Honestly, if you'll go on the forum and just open up a topic, and then Tabby will jump in. She's watching that every day now, or every other day at least.
Yep.
And we do have our product board where we can where we'd like people to be able to kind of suggest sort of new features, that sort of stuff, so that others can say, yeah, I'm needing this too. Yes, I'm needing this too, just to kind of help with that, help bring visibility to what people are looking for. And so it's perhaps for sure adding getting Netiza added onto that as a list, and we can kind of help us better understand kind of what the demand is for it, just because, like Kevin said, it's always a resource thing. There's a bunch of databases, kind of trying to balance them all gets sometimes difficult. I don't have the link out at offhand. I don't know, Tabby, if you have it to be able to paste in for people.
The other piece is, I think Nathan found a newer version that works on 4.2 that dbeaver created. So there's hope.
Oh, that's good.
Next version.
Yeah, the link is in.
Yep. So, and our APIs tend to be very stable, that the extensions have to write against, as trying to make a platform for third parties to write their extensions against. We try to keep them very stable. So things that were built against older versions of Liquibase generally should work well. But yeah, going back to 3.8 or 3.4, kind of whatever you had, there maybe is enough that that extension is getting a bit old. But yeah, the DB ver1, if they saw it working on 4.2, is probably more likely to work.
Great, thank you.
Nathan, was that the idea board that you were asking for the link to?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Okay.
All right. Good question, Daryl. Hopefully that helps. Thanks for finding that, y'all.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Who else has a question?
Hey, I have a question. This is Ganesha here.
Mm-hmm.
So it's more of a technical question. I'm like pretty new to Liquibase. I work as a DevOps engineer. One of our development team, they were trying to, leverage this database CI/CD. Then I was trying all other products, and then came to Liquibase. Since we are mainly kind of containerized things, I was using the Docker version of it. So all the DDL things was good for me, but when I was trying to generate the change log on an existing database, so I'm not able to get the output file generated. But it works good when I locally install it. But with the Docker version, it says command says successfully done, but I don't see it could be a problem with the volume mounting. I try to see all the different options, internet, all the blogs, whatever I could find it in related to Liquibase. But I don't know, have you kind of come across any questions from the users? Maybe I can check with any of you guys offline, but thought of raising it here. It's more of technical, not I'm pretty new to this Liquibase. Sorry.
No, that's a perfectly valid question for this meetup. And so just so I make sure I understand it, you're using the Liquibase that's packaged via Docker so that you can just download that instance and run Liquibase commands. And when
Correct.
you do that, okay. And when you do that, when you try to create, do a snapshot or generate changelog and create your changelog file, it says it's working, but it's not creating the file anywhere that you can find. And
Yes.
okay.
Yeah, when I use the update command by inputting the changelog, it works great to create a table or like just testing purpose. Those working good. But when I have a existing database which team uses, when I try to generate the changelog on that, I'm not getting the output file. So
okay, Mike and maybe Nathan, I may have an answer. I don't know if you all have used it, how extensively you've used the Docker version of Liquibase yet.
So one thing it could be the mount point, right, that you're talking about. So the -v looking in the right place for that file, because by default it puts it in /Liquibase, and then that's the root path of all files, so to speak.
Right.
The other thing is when you're running Liquibase, a lot of folks use the rm command, which basically deletes the container after it's done.
Yes.
And so I think when you do your mount points are in changelog, and so that could be where it's writing it to and then removing it. So again, it could put it could be a pathing statement is my guess. And so if you do changelog as the root file system, you'll find it on your local distribution.
Yeah, on that, even I tried without using that RM option so that it doesn't delete so as soon as I run that command, the container exits. So I was not able to, still also I was not able to see that, output file. Maybe I can check with you offline. Probably I can try to send whatever commands I was using and see. Yeah, I suspect that could be the volume thing. Since it is working on the normal instance, without the Docker.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even-
What the other thing I was going to ask is that I know from data handling, there's a difference between doing a generate changelog command versus a diff changelog command. The generate changelog, kind of comes from a empty database and grabs everything. And in doing that, we are able to kind of just sort of grab all of the data and dump it out. And so you do get that from a generate changelog. But if you are shifting to a diff changelog, we don't have any sort of generic way to try to diff data between the two databases. And so we just ignore any ability to generate change sets from differences in data. So if that's a difference between the two, that could explain it. I don't know if that is or not, if you're using generate changelog in either case, it's a reminder that if you do switch to diff changelog, you won't get the data.
Okay.
But it's you can't find the file. It's not an empty changelog, correct?
Yeah, I can't find the file. It's not empty. Yeah, that's right.
I think if you will go to forum.liquibase.com, is that right? Liquibase.org? I always get it wrong.
.org.
Liquibase.org. I'll put the link in the in the chat. If you'll post there with specific commands and any files that you have, or any information that you have that kind of give us a better sense of it, then we can look and give you some advice on how to do it.
Yeah, I'll do that. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. All right. Jimmy, did you have anything you wanted to share today or discuss? No, that's fine. All right. Well, I think we everybody who is here asked a question except for Jimmy. So if you don't have anything for us, Jimmy, we will move. And I guess I should ask, does anybody else have any follow-up questions or anything else you wanted to discuss?
I have one question for Daryl.
Sure.
As you move, if you don't mind, as you move from 3x to 4x, if there are other big issues that you encounter, I don't want to, warn you off doing it, but there's some things around pathing and stuff like that that we have on our list. But if you encounter new ones, or whatever you encounter, if something really sticks in your system, put it in the forum or send an email to one of us. I'd love to know what those are. We have an ongoing list, but since you mentioned that you're going to be making that migration, anything maybe that you encounter, I'd love to hear about.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. That'd be awesome. Thanks.
I saw Joey come off of mute, so I'm not sure if Joey, you were going to ask a question.
Yeah, I think I'm a newbie for Liquibase as well. So I used the Flyway previously, but somehow my teams these days are using Liquibase as well. I appreciate Luca brought up the license question. I will ask my security team to check the license as well. Okay, and before others ask further question, I have a top level question is what's the difference between Liquibase and Flyway?
That's a good.
Yeah, I'm from an architecture perspective. Later, if my other project asks me, so I know. So these two tools are pretty popular. So what suggestion I can give development team?
I'll give you a very high level kind of reasons why people like one over the other, and then there's probably we probably have some more detailed discussions of that we could forward on to you. But in general, people tend to like Flyway because it's really easy to get started, and people tend to really like Liquibase because once you've gotten started and you try to do more sophisticated things besides kind of a POC level or really simple workflows, that it has the power that you need to really really use it in your teams and use it over the long term. So it really is, that's kind of like the key differentiator right now. We have spent for the past year a lot more time on making it easier to get started with Liquibase. But that really is that's usually what we see. People that there are a lot of people that start with Flyway, and then after using it for 6 months, 9 months, they start finding things they can't do with Flyway, and they end up switching to Liquibase to get that power. But there is a link that Caroline put on the page here. Has a little bit of an overview of some of the details between the two, and so that might also help as well.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, so it's along with my experience. I use the Flyway just some very basic feature, and then later I saw that it's there is some issue when we try to roll back the changes. Yeah. But
Well,
yeah, just use the basic feature there.
Yeah. I think that if you're really doing very simple things, either one is fine. But if you want to start really digging in and doing more sophisticated things, you'll end up needing a lot of the capabilities that Liquibase brings to the table. There's also a third-party document that Caroline, I think, or Mario shared. So you certainly the one that Liquibase versus Flyway is on our website. But if you want a third-party point of view, you can go look at the one that Mario shared, that second one. And so you can kind of have two different perspectives on that.
Got you. Thank you. And yeah, so Liquibase support, for example, rollback better than Flyway. Correct.
Right.
Okay, that's a very good point. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
My dev team. Thank you.
Yes. Good question. Thank you. All right. Thank you, Joey. Jimmy, last chance. Anything that you wanted to discuss today?
No, I'm good. Just
All
listening this time. Thank you.
No worries. Thank you.
I might just ask, sorry, is this recording going to be available to us for
yes,
everyone, or is it just for you guys? Yeah. Great.
It'll
Okay.
be. We'll publish it out on the YouTube channel, Liquibase YouTube channel.
Great. Thank you very much.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Let me get back to our slides. Can you all see the slide saying community updates?
Yes.
All right. Well, then I will hand this over to Tabby.
All right. So we want to recognize the contributions of folks in the community. So these are the first time contributors who helped with the 4.9.1 release. And so thank you to them for helping out. And then we also wanted to give a special shout out to these two who helped us fix an issue with manifest in 4.9.0, and their help was super critical, and we really appreciate it. And then we also wanted to talk about, we updated the Liquibase Legends points. We added some points for new things and changed the values of some points to more accurately reflect the value of the contribution that people in our community are making towards just building a better community and making everything better for everybody. So if you go check out our Liquibase Legends page on the website, you can see all of those updates there. And then next month, we're going to be having another meetup. Surprise! It'll be again on the second Thursday of the month so May 12th is the second Thursday, and it's same time, 11 a.m. Central Standard Time, and you can sign up. You'll be able to sign up on the meetup page once we publish it, which will be very soon.
What are we going to focus on next month, Tabby?
Oh yes, the product roadmap. So you'll get an idea and learn about the things that we plan to do in the immediate future, and maybe some further future things.
Good. Yeah, I think the goal, that's perfect. We're going to look at product roadmap. We're also going to spend some time looking at the new Liquibase ideas board, and a lot of people have been contributing to that from the community. So we'll also discuss that and see what new ideas people have out there and discuss those in that meeting.
So on that idea board that I linked earlier, you can also go and vote for other people's ideas. I noticed that there are a lot of people suggesting things, but not a lot of people voting. So please, even if you don't have an idea that you want to contribute, go look at the ideas that others have posted and vote for them if you think they would be beneficial.
All right. Thank you, Tabby. Well,
Mhm.
thank you everybody for joining us today. Appreciate the questions and the conversation. And we look forward to seeing you again, same general time next month.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
There you go.
Bye.